Exclusive.
Hey RedEye, I'm Sam Elliott. I'm here promoting a movie called Grandma, which opens August 28th, which is today. And also like to shout out a big apology to Taylor Swift for butchering the shit out of her lyrics.
You are so good in this movie, as many have said, and they are right.
Thank you very much.
Of course, you're not in it for a ton of time. How much, if at all, does your process change when you're in just a couple of scenes? Does it change the depth of research, the planning, or is it totally the same?
In this particular instance, it didn't change anything because there really wasn't anything to research. It was all on the page. You know, I mean, Paul's script was so specific, for lack of a better way to put it, and so well drawn. You know, I mean, it was all there. You know, you knew about this character's history. You knew about the fact that something was eating him. You know, you knew the fact that he had a history with this character that he was playing against in Lily's character, and you knew that he was wounded. You know,
well, it seems like you agree that you kind of hit a special place in this performance, saying I came unglued a little bit, and it happened in the doing of it. It was a real catharsis in a positive way. How did it feel in that moment? Is that something where, like, later that night, you're like, whoa, that felt different to me?
It's when there's a really strange thing that happens, and I'm not the only actor that it happens to, because there's kind of a joke about driving home and doing your best take in the rearview mirror, you know what I mean, as you're leaving the fucking set. And it's like, often when you leave or when you go home or when you're driving home, and I particularly have a long way to drive home where I am, you're thinking about, fuck, why didn't I do such and such, or why did I do such and such? And I left Paul's house, which is where we shot this thing, up in Topanga Canyon, and I just really felt like, it wasn't like I felt like I'd hit a home run, but I felt like I did what I went there to do.
Yeah,
I had no regrets about what I did.
I am often, like, on my way out of an interview and, oh, that's what I should have asked them.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, are you someone who, this movie certainly deals with looking back, and your character looking back on the past a little bit, or kind of feelings cropping up? Are you someone generally, how much do you feel like you think about the past, have that
I
narrative
dwell in
going?
the past a lot. You know, I mean, I'm always, I question people that say I have no regrets. You know
How
what
come?
I mean? I don't know. I just don't think that's kind of an honest appraisal of how one lives their life, that everything is perfection, that I wouldn't change anything. If so, then you had a charmed life. I think there's a certain percentage of us that go through life and those of us that totally have their shit together, which I'm not including myself in, but that deal with stuff as it comes.
You're right. When people say they have no regrets because it led them to this place, you sort of wonder, like, really?
Yeah.
That time you...
Yeah. What about that? Oh, well, I forgot about that one.
You wouldn't change that if you could?
But I think there's a certain amount of people that deal with shit, better than others, obviously. But Carl wasn't one of them. I think Carl was one of those characters that just, rather than dealing with it, he swept a lot of shit under the rug.
So why do you feel like you are someone who kind of dwells on things sometimes?
I don't think it's a character flaw, but it's something that I do. I look back. But I think in order to move forward, that you got to look back also. In order to look down the road, you got to be mindful of what was back there.
Well, something else that I've loved doing is Parks and Recreation, and I think something kind of interesting about your role on that is that both you and Nick Offerman have been touted as these symbols of masculinity, and yet you both have things about you that don't necessarily fit that. Like, you're both big fans of musicals and have more dimension to you than just that. Is that something that, like, ever came up in conversation between you guys, or that you recognize as being kind of a funny note of being those parallels on that show?
Yeah, it was a common thing I think that Nick and I share. I think that Nick's the reason that I was on that show. I think, you know, when it was that doppelganger episode, you know, in the beginning, and I think it probably boiled down to, so whose mustache do you want to fucking talk about in this scene or something? You know, get Elliott. He's got a good mustache. So I don't know, but I've since developed quite a nice relationship with Nick, which I cherish, and
Yeah, he's a great guy.
you know, we connect every once in a while. We're in his old stomping grounds here, I know,
Indeed.
and, you know.
Well, sort of as an extension of that issue of masculinity, is there ever any, because you know that that's a perception that you've had for a lot of your career, and if at any time you've had a chance to show how much more you are than that, you've done it brilliantly.
Thank you.
Has there ever been a time when you've done something in your personal life like, ha, if people could see me now?
Oh, shit, man. I'm sure I have, but I don't know what it would be. You know, it's not like I have some proclivity for wearing dresses on, or anything like that. I like to think that I'm pretty straightforward and pretty honest. But the whole accent on the macho thing, that's a concoction of a lot of great roles over the years. You know, that's a thing that, you know, people come up to you and they think that they know you, you know, if you're an actor. And I think that we actors often get confused with that image that people know us from on the screen, you know.
Definitely.
I mean, you know, you see some actors you wouldn't even want to approach them if you thought they were that guy on the screen, you know, but I don't think I've got any hidden secrets that I wouldn't share with you.
I thought it would be fun. I don't know if you've seen before. James Earl Jones has done a dramatic reading of Justin Bieber lyrics. Benedict Cumberbatch has done this with R. Kelly lyrics. It seems like you're such a good sport, and I know our readers would love it. I printed out some Taylor Swift lyrics. If you wouldn't mind doing like a dramatic reading of one of her songs, I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
Shit, man, why didn't you give me this ahead of time?
Well, I'll show it to you. I highlighted the parts I thought would be
I'm
fun
not
for
very
you to
good
do.
at cold readings. Well, I'm going to read this, but, you know, my apologies to Taylor Swift. Are you going to get sued by her?
No.
Am I?
No.
You could care less about that.
I definitely care about that.
Did you have to do this? I was thinking that you could be trusted. Did you have to ruin what was shiny? Now it's all rusted. Did you have to hit me where I'm weak? Baby, I couldn't breathe. And rub it in so deep, salt in the wound like you're laughing right at me. Oh, it's so sad to think about the good times, you and I. 'Cause baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad love. So take a look at what you've done. 'Cause baby, now we've got bad blood. Hey.